Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my show, Crypto Express, where it's my goal, passion, and purpose to help keep you up to date with what's going on in the crypto market. In today's episode, we're going to cover Bitcoin. We're going to go over a token I think you should stay away from. And we're going to cover the tokens that are doing the best and are projected to do the best based on real data. That said, I'm not paid to cover any of these projects. I'm just personally invested in them, which is why I'm following them, but I'm only personally invested in them because of the research I've done, and that's it. So that said, please like and subscribe, and let's get started. All right, first thing is first, let me share my screen with you. Okay, so first off, let's start with this tweet because it really paints a picture of what those that have been in the space for a long time and are very experienced feel. And it says, basically, I hope you didn't get shaken out by the CPI data yesterday. Focus on the bigger picture, right? CPI meaning, what is it? Consumer Price Index. So basically on the 13th, we saw all-time highs, and then we saw like a massive correction, and a lot of people got scared, especially those that are new to the space. But I found this clip in Crypto Banter's video from today. It's an amazing channel. I'd recommend you go follow him. And he explains it in a very, very good way. So here we go.
The NASDAQ came down, starting to recover, but hardly recovering. Hardly. The Dixie spiked up and stayed there. In fact, it's now heading towards 105. So it's not really looking good for traditional markets and for the Dixie. When you look at Bitcoin, however, what you can see is that we went down and now we have recovered to here. So let's just quickly understand how big the swing was yesterday. So from yesterday's low here to where we are today, Bitcoin is up 7.5% from the swing yesterday. It was quite a big swing yesterday. And so you ask yourself, well, why did Bitcoin actually recover so quickly? What is it that made Bitcoin recover so quickly, and why are the stock markets still down? Well, I guess the first part is that the stock markets are actually performing way better than Bitcoin. You can see that the stock markets have already broken their all-time high. Bitcoin hasn't yet broken its all-time high, right? That's the first thing. That's the first thing. But that's not what's actually going on. Because I realized yesterday why the market is, or I realized early this morning, why the market is recovering much quicker, why the Bitcoin market is recovering much quicker than the normal markets.
Because of the ETF.
And actually, the answer lies, funny enough, in the ETFs. And actually, the answer lies in the ETFs. So let me show you what the thesis is. So yesterday was the biggest day for ETF flows since we've started, or one of the biggest days for ETF flows since we've started. We got a net $631 million, that's over $500 million, flowing into the new ETFs after all the withdrawals from Grayscale. BlackRock, the BlackRock ETF took in nearly $500 million on its own yesterday. Now we are in a situation where we have surpassed any kind of expectation that anybody ever had. In fact, if you look at the inflows, not only are the inflows very, very, very high, but the inflows are starting to accelerate now. Why is this happening? Because it takes time for the sales forces of these asset managers who launched the ETFs. It takes time for them to train their sales team and to get the distribution. And then think about...
I'll pause there. I think enough said, but that's basically what happened. So this is Bitcoin today. I hope you can see on my screen. We're currently sitting at 51,000. 51,000. It keeps varying, about 51,500, give or take. And based on the data I reviewed today, it looks like we're in a consolidating period, fixing to go into a next breakout, the next high. And then this tweet also just paints a big picture of where we're actually at and how we're actually doing, despite, how could I say it? Despite the short-term, narrow-minded perspective of what's going on in the market, right? There's been some disappointment, people feeling like, when is the bull market going to start? Why isn't it starting? It's taking too long. And this guy is basically saying, and I think he's really speaking to those that are more experienced. But he says, we might hit all-time highs before the halving at this rate. So the halving, for those of you who don't know, is when, Bitcoin's supply gets that Bitcoin's amount that is mined every time a block, is confirmed. The amount of Bitcoin produced will be cut in half. And this basically cuts the new circulating supply in half. So he says, Wall Street doesn't care about how the cycle works. They just know there's going to be 50% less supply in 60 days. So that in mind, considering we have a whole new inflow of the baby boomers who primarily are invested and, invest their money through wealth managers at BlackRock, Fidelity, other wealth management companies, that's what they know. They're being contacted by the Salesforce, wealth managers from these big financial institutions, and they're just being explained what's about to happen. And this is creating the massive inflows we've seen in the market. Anyway, now I want to get into the token that I feel compelled morally, ethically, to warn you about. And I realize I might get a lot of FUD over this. But I'm going to do it anyway because it's my second bull run and I've seen what happens. And I really want to protect you, the retail market, from tokens and projects that will get you wrecked in the long run. They don't care. They raise huge valuations for, sometimes they have real tech. Sometimes it's all just castles in the sky and they don't actually bring anything to market. And they have horrible token emission schedules, release schedules, and they dump on their own communities. And I'm not saying this is the case for STRK. I believe it's STRKnet. I personally don't know that much about them, but based on my sources and the data I've received, and frankly, the information I'm going to share with you that comes from them, which is what we're looking at here. They got their tokens 2 years ago. And they're getting their first unlock right after TGE. So right after their token. See, this is a better tweet. Let me zoom out of there. You can just see it here on the screen. But basically, that's what happened. Okay, I'm just giving you the skinny, the high level. There's some project that has 104 people, as you can see on the screen. They've raised 225 million. The last valuation was at 8 billion. And their TVL is 55 million. So it's just, and then consider the fact that they have 13% allocated to their team, and this is about to get unlocked as soon as they come to market. So I'm gonna stop there. It doesn't look good is all I'm gonna say, and I feel responsible to you, my community that I'm building, to let you know that this looks shady. And that's my commitment to you, is to just let you know when I see something that doesn't look right, because people are going to get wrecked, and they have, I don't know where it went. I think I closed it out because I didn't want to share any more information on them, but they have an airdrop going on. Okay. So it's airdrop season, but do as you want to do, but just, if you can be fast enough, get in, get out, get your airdrops, and then sell, go find out when their unlock is going to happen, then you might be okay. But I think it's sad that these projects do this. They raise at a really high valuation and then they just dump on their community after everyone rushes in and puts their hard-earned money. And then, these are families. This could be your family. I just don't think it's right. And I just don't think it's right. Because on the other hand, project team founders can be highly incentivized to not sell their tokens because it's their project. And I know this because I'm also a founding team member. I was for Paid Network, Ignition, which is one of the top 3 launch pads in last bull run, which is why I know what happens during IDO season. And I've just seen it too many times. So, I know that technically the team holding the tokens can be a good thing, but it can also be a horrible thing because they're going to sell. you know, like they're going to sell like who knows how much, and hopefully the team doesn't, is all I'm going to say. And we'll just see. I mean, you always find out at the end of the bull run who's who. You know, it's like they say, like, it's only when the water goes down that you can see who's not wearing swimming trunks. That's what happens at the end of the bull run. So you'll just see who was legitimate, who wasn't. That's how we found out about FTX. It's like, it's just what happens. But anyway, this video is excellent, and I wanted to share it with you because there really aren't better words than these to explain what is happening with Bitcoin, why, you know, we're fixing to go into the biggest bull run. I'm not trying to create FOMO, but I do feel responsible to let you know, which is the whole point of this channel, because this is all of our opportunities, our opportunity to make as much money as possible. And he explains the logic of why, because remember, the altcoins follow Bitcoin. So if this is going on with Bitcoin, this is like the new volume of liquidity coming into the crypto space. It's incredible. So let's take a listen.
Your outlook for Bitcoin, and then we'll jump into earnings.
Well, I think a lot of this is just indicative of the popularity of Bitcoin as an asset class. It's now the world's most popular investment asset. It's novel, it's digital, it's global, it's unique, and it's uncorrelated to traditional risk assets because it doesn't come with exposure to any given country, currency, company, quarterly result, product cycle, competitor, not to weather, not to war, not to an employee base or supply chain. And so that makes it a natural addition to the portfolio of a responsible investor. There's 10 years of pent-up demand. People have been waiting for these ETFs, and finally, mainstream investors are able to access Bitcoin. And I think that's what's driving the surge of capital in the asset class. And initially, there was a rebalancing as people were moving capital between the futures market and the miners and MicroStrategy and the ETFs. But following that rebalancing, I think the assets found its footing, and now people are beginning to realize that there's 10 times as much demand for Bitcoin coming in through these ETFs as there is supply coming from the natural sellers, who are the miners.
Yeah, and of course we're gonna get the have.
See, that is what is going on, and this is why we're going into the biggest super cycle. But okay, and then yeah, exactly as this guy says, this OSF, you know, he says, yes, I know you all are making a lot of money on alts, but the funniest thing about it is it's not even alt season yet. Nowhere close. BTC dominance pretty much at 1-year highs. In his opinion, or in my opinion, altcoin season post ETF, Ethereum's ETF in May. So we know Ethereum's ETF is coming up in May, and that's going to set off another tidal wave. So just to paint the picture of what's going on. Now let's switch gears. I'm going to go through them very fast. I've covered these tokens before. I think Banana Gun, not so much in detail, but there's really not much to say. It's a meme. Okay. And for some reason, the crypto community loves them. I think because they say so much at the same time without saying very much. And it's kind of like sticking the finger to the big man, you know? It's funny. And it shows how value is actually created, which is when people assign it value. That's how things become valuable. So anyway, Banana's doing good. Check out the chart. I still need to go find out if I actually bought some or not because I don't remember. This is the STRKnet Foundation airdrop that's going on. At your own risk, I spoke my piece at the beginning of this video. I personally wouldn't get near it. But if you're super degen and you want to just, you know, give it a go, be very fast, okay? And get out before the team has their first unlock, okay? Dymension, which I also covered in a previous video. They have a great thesis. They're also in price discovery mode right now. As you can see, a lot of up and down. This is just accumulation, which is great. And they're breaking out. And as soon as they break out, we know what happens. There's always, it reaches a new high and then it does more sideways, more correction. So once this personally, what I'll be doing as soon as it does correct, as Lord Crypto Lady, who's really good too, you should go follow her. As soon as it corrects, then I'll be buying some more. All right, so that's the next token that's pumping. Dogwifhat, which is hilarious, which I'm also a holder of. Personally, I didn't get airdrop tokens. I am just a personal investor like you. So that's the only reason I'm covering them, because they're doing good. And a lot of these projects have like, they have all the right check boxes. They check off the right check boxes. And Dogwifhat is just doing good. Look, it did a lot of sideways, broke out, reached a new high that became the new low. It's a lot of sideways. Now it's fixing to break out, most likely. So it could be, maybe at your own risk, a good opportunity to accumulate some. But that's a degen play, remember. Okay, so you don't do it with a lot of money and maybe with high leverage, up to you. And then we have SEI. SEI is the first high performance parallelized EVM chain, has hit a major milestone, which is amazing. I love it when projects actually fulfill their milestones. Speaks volumes of the project and the fact they'll actually deliver on their roadmaps. So it breeds faith, which I think this space really needs. So anyway, it says SEI's permissionless public DevNet has been upgraded to V2 and is now live for developers to begin their deployments. Amazing. So we're keeping an eye on SEI. I can do a video in more detail about SEI if you like. Please let me know. And then ZETA. ZetaChain is doing very good. It's also going through a price discovery phase and is fixing a breakout. And some are speculating, according to my resources and data, that it should find its price around $3 equivalent. That's the next token. And then this tweet by Miles Deutscher. He's a new YouTuber. He's actually very good. I would just Google his name. He's on Crypto Banter. He's one of Crypto Banter's talents. I'll put it that way. Very good, very knowledgeable. And he just presents this chart, which is, I love charts. I love visuals. Basically, just paints a picture of how much more altcoins have to go in comparison to Bitcoin, because they always follow Bitcoin, And so this is how much we have to go in the short term, as far as we know, because history tends to rhyme. And so it's a good indicator of where we're going. And then this is also just really also just important to remember, because remember, as we're going into a bull run, it's like going into war. It's like a money grab, and you have to be on it. You have to be on it and not fall for the same mistakes you fell for last time. Or, get to know yourself. Like, what are you afraid of? Like, you can't be afraid, because it will just blind you. But one of the key phrases, this guy's saying, this stoic savage, do anything, however illegal, to delete the phrase already pumped. Like when you see a token, you're like, oh man, I wish I'd gone into it. And then you're like, it already pumped. Like you feel like you missed out, Because what happens, and it's like notorious, like the crypto space is just notorious for this. You pumped, you think you missed out, and then it drops, and then before you know it, it's like skyrocket, That's how it is during a bull run. So just keep that in mind, If you see a good project, whether it's degen project or it's like actually great tech, like SEI, like Zeta Network, ZetaChain, SEI, Chainlink, like this is great tech. Then just buy the dip, and we can go into dollar cost averaging, but it's pretty much as it sounds, which just means you buy a little bit every day. That way it doesn't, you're not being emotionally driven by the markets up or down. It's like you just know you're going to be buying. So that's an approach. And then lastly, this paints a really good picture of where we're at, which you can see where my mouse is. This is where we're at now. See 2004 at the very bottom of the screen. And this is last bull run. So this is like pretty much the same period as we are now. But check out what last bull run looks like. And this is why I'm making this channel, and I'm not going to miss out this time, because I just didn't know enough. I was just working, I didn't know enough to know like I should be selling up here, because like I'm a hodler, diamond hands, like I'll hold what I believe is valuable, but then the market will correct, you know? So you have to tell yourself in advance what you will do, which I think is first and foremost, always pay yourself back. Like your initial investment, pay yourself back, take that out, put back into your investment bundle, and then always pay yourself 10%, 15%, pay yourself, put that into like a savings, you know? And then the rest, you decide. You can either grow your investment, you know, account, or make that your DGen account. It's up to you. But anyway, this chart is actually also very great. So this is Bitcoin, and then the following chart is altcoins. No, Ethereum, sorry. And it just also compares where we're at in terms of interest in the market, you know, Bitcoin versus Ethereum. But anyway, I think that is enough information for today's video. These are just some funny funny tweets. I love them, but it also is so spot on. So like keep in mind what's going on in the macro market. You know, we have the ETFs that are being approved that are pretty much are the bridge now between Web3, the crypto market, and Web2, traditional finance. And now there's this bridge that's connecting us, and it's bringing all this new value into the crypto space. So that's one factor we have to remember always and forever. I mean, as we just heard earlier in this video, BlackRock alone brought in over $500 million in Bitcoin ETFs yesterday, you know, and that it was after a correction that we had the previous day. So that paints a picture of how, like, it should start to paint a picture of the type of bull run we're going into. And then that's one factor. The second factor is we have the halving coming in 63 days before the supply gets cut in half. And when there's less of something, it becomes more valuable. So keep in mind that's coming, okay? And then we have elections coming up in the US. I don't have the date at the top of my head. We have elections coming in. The market has to be doing good during elections, or no president's getting elected, you know? So if they have to print more money, they will. If they have to roll out basic income for all, which is a good idea at the foundation, but it's going to be linked with your ID. It's going to be linked with all your biometrics. And I'm going to stop there because I don't want to get censored. But be careful if you live in the States. Just be careful, you know. Thailand's great. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, okay, yeah, then this is the IBIT, the ETF, BlackRock's ETF news from yesterday. Just showing like how well it did. Sorry, and it was 5 billion it brought in. No, $500 million, I was correct. 500 million in one day. How amazing. Amazing. This brings us to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. If I sound a little tired, it's because I am. I just got to Dubai, which is oh, that's my light. I don't know if you can see it in the background, is Dubai city lights. But anyway, I hope you're doing good wherever you are. Good luck out there. Be wise, be safe. And I will bring you another video tomorrow. I am traveling again though, so I'll do my very best to report to you as soon as possible. But please leave a comment, please like and subscribe. Let me know what else you'd like me to talk about, and I'll be back soon. All right, ciao, take care. Bye.